Hey everyone, Yeshua Gabriel Paul. I'm going to speaking to you more as Paul and Copa right now. Today is February 11th, almost noon Eastern Standard Time. Yesterday, February 10th, starting around 10:30 a.m. in the morning, I started the process of putting my dog down. It was the actual process of putting her down at the vet. The overall process had actually, in a way, started a few years earlier when I thought my dog Anya was needing to be put down, but it wasn't until last week now, because today is Sunday. It wasn't until last week when I made the decision to actually do the process. In order to do so, I did some thinking, some research, some reflection. I watched videos of other owners who had gone through the actual process, the physical process of the release of their dog, and and I cried a lot. I cried so much. I had already cried so many tears for Anya before, and during the research of the process, that by the time the actual doing occurred, it was a little bit easier than I anticipated. That is where preparing for what needs to be done is very important, and it can be extremely crucial at times. It can lessen the depth or the impact that it might otherwise have. I realize not everyone has this type of opportunity to do so, whether it be a sudden accident, unexpected occurrence of a death, whatever it may be. I, in a way, was fortunate. I've had to go through the process of, is it too early? Which it isn't. Was it too late? Maybe, maybe not. Is there guilt involved with actually doing the process? Yes. Yeah. I mean, for me, it was like she still had her cognitive abilities, but her body had deteriorated to the point where she was, for the most part, unable to take more than 5 steps at a time. And I would physically have to place her into the position for her to pee and poop. She was basically a living puppet. I had to transport her pretty much everywhere, and the pain that she was suffering, I was feeling immensely, and it was time for both of us. I was starting to get upset with the demands that were being placed upon me, the neediness that she had, with it not being her fault. It's just her physical vessel was uncooperative. It was just kind of time. But when it comes to this type of thing, it's not easy. It's not easy. Some of you also know that I go by Azrael, the angel of death. And spiritually, it had always been much easier. It was more like using my imagination to do some of these things. But actually going through the human process as Paul David Ferguson, it's different because it was the first time where I've really, truly had to do that. Whether it be grandparents, uncles, nephews, friends, students, acquaintances, whatever it was. I've had that before. I haven't had any of my immediate family of my nucleus family of 6. I haven't had to lose any of those yet. So, and with this being like my first like real dog, my friend, in a way you could say, yeah, my life partner for 11, 12 years. It not easy. It's not easy. But I was, like I said, I was fortunate enough to be in the position where I could be ready for it. And now I'm giving myself, as far as I'm concerned, it's kind of like a mandatory 3 days of mourning for her, for Anya. And some people kind of like to work through it. Some people need different things for distractions, whether it be watching TV or not harping on what it was that was just done. And I'm kind of going a little back and forth. Like there are things that I need to do for work, and I'm trying to put some time into that because it is needed and required for the collective. But also, yet for me, it's self-love, self-healing, and people can try to force my process and yell at me or be demanding of me or whatever. And they may even have said that I've been selfish. But it's self-love, it's self-healing. And if someone out there is trying to make me feel bad or feel guilty about needing the time to personally process and accept everything that just occurred, I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. This is about me and what I need to do for myself right now. I told whoever I told that it was going to be difficult and that I wasn't going to be around to do everything that they wanted to have me do. And I don't care what they say. I'm needed to do this for myself. I love me first. I love you, but I love me first. So I'm still in a state of, it feels like a little bit of a state of a shock. I was expecting to be bawling my eyes out so much more. Maybe there'll just be a song or a movie that I watch where it'll be like I'll have that like final release of like, I don't know, like I woke up this morning and I didn't have to get Anya up to take her outside to pee. I didn't have to lean over to get her water bowl to pass it to her. It's a little bit of a relief. Like I could be in the middle of something before where I needed to really focus and do this, and I'd be on a roll with my creativity or whatever it was, and then Anya would start to pant and whine a little bit, and it's like, oh, I really didn't need the distraction, as awful as that is. It's like I didn't need it. As bad as it may sound, it's like it was a bit of a burden, and she realized she was being a bit of a burden, but that was just her body reacting. It was like it just was. I'm hungry, pant, pant, pant. I'm thirsty, pant, pant, pant. I need to go potty, pant, pant, pant. And she had been peeing on the bed, and I was getting mad and upset. And from previous experience that I had seen with another dog of my parents is like, I'd seen a dog that had gone an extra year or two from where Ani is or was, like right then when I decided to put her down. And that would have been too much for her and for me. She was already suffering enough, so yeah, had to put her out of both of our misery. And yeah, so it was difficult, but needed and required for everyone. And in a spiritual sense, with Anya being Anya, Grace, um, my personal queen. Um, like she was like my kid as a dog when I first met her, and then she kind of grew into like a queen for me personally. And that was before I got into the whole spiritual sort of a thing, like in terms of people proclaim themselves as like a queen and empress and whatever. So yeah, so when I released Anya, I was kind of releasing all of that energy, that spirit, that things that I had been holding on to, that I had invested so much into myself and Anya, and then having that released to the overall collective and energies, it was important to occur. So yeah, I'm a little bit over a day into my grieving process, even though I'm not quite sure if I've gone through the whole healing stage, but that's where I currently am right now. And the last song she and I heard together was "If I Could Change the World." I'd first heard that song from the movie Phenomenon, with John Travolta in it. Um, at the moment, I'm forgetting who sings it. I want to say it was John Mayer or John Mayer, but I could be incorrect on that. And when I came out of the vet office, I turned on my car, and the song that was playing was "Everything I Do It For You," which I first heard from Robin Hood, um, from Bryan Adams. So those are, and when I turned the car on, it was 11:11. So I made my immediate wish for what I wanted to wish for, and so those are two songs that I kind of purposely set up for myself, but still, those were the songs that I needed or wanted to make sure that I heard. I didn't want to take a chance to turn on a radio and have an incorrect song, I guess you could say. So that's what I set up for myself and Anya. Just like, now that I am going to have that extra time, I'm not going to have that worry about needing to move Anya from the floor to a recliner to the bed to outside to this. So I'm now going to have that extra time that I would have spent having my attention on Anya that I can devote for myself, for my businesses, and whatever happens to come next. It's, if you want to call it a midlife crisis, a realization, a release, a requirement for the next part of my personal path and journey. Whatever it is, that's what I'm personally going through as a 49-year-old. And I'm in a decently secure spot because I live in my parents' house. They happen to be living in another location at the moment. And I don't have a human matrix job. So I'm starting to struggle on finances. So that's where I could use some personal donations. Help Gabriel, paypal.me, help Gabriel. And that's something I think Anya would want me to do. WWAD. What would Anya do? What would angels do? What would Azzy do? Whatever you want that A to stand for. But for me, it's what would Anya do? And she's she has a great story. So moving forward, I'm going to want to tell her story and how she was like my hero. She was the one I needed by my side. She's the one who stayed with me for an extra 2 or 3 years. She was the one who I took to Sedona Heaven for our road trip. Our, our couples road trip, if you will allow me. Well, doesn't matter if I may say so, which I do. She was always overprotective, protective, maybe a little overprotective. She had her boundaries. She had her territory. If you got too close to her food, even if she wasn't eating it, she would let you know, this is my food. This is my toy. This is mine. So like back off. She would be protective of other dogs. If she had a boyfriend named Finn, a dog, but a boyfriend named Finn, and they were a very cute couple. They would take naps together when they were around each other. And if another dog was trying to get Finn's food, or if there was a little bit of arguing back and forth between the two other dogs, Anya would interject and defend her boyfriend. And she was lovable. She was cute. She was playful. She loved her froggies. She loved life. She loved playing when she had the energy. And even until the end, she still had that playful youthfulness. Her reactions were still quick. Problem was the quickness was mainly from the from the hips to the head. She could turn, but moving her body and everything, that was very difficult. So if she had come across the wrong, the wrong opposite power or whatever, however you want to phrase it, someone who might have been a little quicker, she had no real way to defend herself. Of course, I would have always been around to protect her, but I'm just kind of saying in general, she was kind of like a sitting duck, if you'll excuse that expression. So, yeah, she couldn't do for herself, and she was kind of like a living puppet. So that was a main reason why I had to do what I had to do. So yeah, I just kind of wanted to tell you guys and express myself, and to let you be aware that, some of you have seen my overall growth from how I went from, from not being really spiritual. I went to churches. I was a Christian. I am a Christian. Baptized, went through the whole process of officially becoming, a Christian, or whatever you have to do when you remember Bible verses and you give your full commitment to God and to Yeshua. I did all that. I made that commitment. But then, I always had questions and doubts about a God. Does God actually exist? I always knew that she existed, it existed, but yeah, there was always, that little bit of if I admit to it, then I'm really truly committed to it. I always was committed to it, but that's just kind of how I was. Anyways, it's yeah, so you've kind of seen, some of you, how I've grown and matured, and now it's just getting faster and faster. Everything for Empire TV, MPYRE, and for COPA, COAPAU, it's finally started. Like, if anyone's ever seen the movies Dune, it's like the sleeper has awakened. Yeah. Awakened in terms of knowing what I need to do next. Awakened in terms of realizing the personal impacts and effects and effects that I personally have on other beings or all beings. And that's just something that I've accepted. And there's there's still way more to go in terms of the overall doing and the being of, and doing the whole teamwork, dreamwork thing, and trying to get out of my, I don't know, out of my shell a little bit as a turtle. Like someone once said that I lived like in a shoebox, like in my basement where I used to live. It's like you're living in a shoebox. You're not really going out and doing anything. Well, I was doing things, like I was going to college, I was teaching tennis, I did some other stuff. So I was doing stuff, but not really going out and like doing some of these things, like living life. Yeah, I was doing some of these things for self-improvement, for self-sustaining, but not really going out and, I don't know, doing shit, that sort of thing. At least not until I went to Sedona. And even then, I didn't quite comprehend everything that was occurring, everything that was going to happen, all that stuff. But that's where, finally getting to the point where it's time for the next step. It's time for my personal next journey, whether it be as Yeshua, Gabriel, Azzy, Paul, David, whatever it is. But yet, I will always be thankful for Anya. I will always remember her. To this point in my life, she is the love of my life, and I will always love her, adore her, and cherish her. So if you want to do anything to memorialize her or dedicate something to her, I and her would personally appreciate it. So I love me. I love you. I love Anya. Love you.